I lead the microplastics research team and I'm a lecturer in environmental toxicology. My team's really multidisciplinary because microplastic is a multidisciplinary issue as well. So we have kind of 3 strands of research. One strand is quantifying them in air and estimating human exposure. One strand is quantifying them in tissue to understand internal exposure to these particles. And the other strand is then looking at what they do in terms of their toxicity using in vitro cellular models. Microplastics are so ubiquitous. They're found in every environment that's ever been looked at. So we're talking soils, freshwater, marine environment, sediments, the equators, the poles. They're literally found everywhere on Earth. So the UN has just signed a kind of historical agreement to eventually commit or to form a commitment to end plastic pollution. And that's just the start of it, right? So ending plastic pollution is one thing, but microplastic pollution, which is a form of plastic pollution, doesn't just come from littered plastic. It comes from all sorts of different products that aren't necessarily part of that treaty. And so I think, first of all, making sure the treaty is doing its job is one thing, and then being aware of all the other sources is another. Yeah, we have a project, a GLA funded project, so with the local authority in Southwark and Lambeth. The project's looking at street sweeper sludge, which is very glamorous. So essentially, obviously there are road sweepers going around London every day, and one of the big questions around that sweeping activity has been whether they generate air pollution because of the mechanical brushing of the road surface, potentially generating a dust. And so are people actually exposed to more air pollution locally to those sweepers? We've got automated methods whereby in a given area you can collect that chemical data for lots of different particles automatically. We can also look at images in the same way, where we collect chemical information for every pixel in an image and make chemical maps, so we can actually map microplastics in a sample or an image of a sample. And there's also another way, using gas chromatography, mass spectrometry. It's coupled to pyrolysis, which is essentially sort of superheating something, and you have to do that to fragment the plastic because they're so resistant. In order to fragment them into their molecular constituents, we have to heat them to sort of 600 degrees first, and then we kind of detect those fragments in the mass spectrometer and look at the chemical fingerprint to determine their composition.